All right, guys, just a quick reminder. I am recording the body of today's podcast for YouTube. It'll be in several parts because I can't record more than about 10 minutes on my iPhone before we end up not able to upload it to YouTube, even though YouTube will let me upload as long a video as I want. The iPhone says I'm not allowed to. So I'll be breaking this into segments on YouTube. So if you want to share parts of today's show, you can reference people to the YouTube segments. And if you're listening on YouTube, or watching on YouTube, I should say, where you can actually see me. If you'd like to get the entire podcast, there'll be a link in the video notes. And if you want to find out everything that we do at the Survival Podcast, just go to tspc.co. Those of you guys that listen every day, but look us up on your phones and stuff, remember, you don't have to type out the whole survivalpodcast.com thing. tspc.co will get you there. Real quick update, though, from yesterday's show before I get into bug out locations, which is what we're going to talk about today, is I talked yesterday about grills, and Weber Grills is saying the Genesis was a hell of a grill, and it really is. Somebody commented, though, in the comments that you should check Craigslist because, we are talking about a grill that can be upwards of $800 or more based on the options, like the E330 with the two side burners and all. I checked on Craigslist. There's almost a brand new E330 Genesis in Dallas right now for $440, and I bet you, the guy wants to sell it, so you could probably make a better offer. So, with your big ticket purchases, it kind of goes without saying, but always check Craigslist. Anyway, with that knocked out, let's go ahead and get into the main topic of today's show, or the bug out location. As I pull up my outline here. I want to kind of start out with what is a bug out location and what is it not? What is the reality versus prepper fiction versions of a bug out location? A lot of people in the, modern survival movement have a feeling that a bug out location is that place that you go, you take your battle rifle, what have you, and you go out to fight the Russians. You're going to go out there and let me adjust my chair here. You're going to go out there and battle the bad guys from your remote location in the Colorado Rockies, just like they did in Red Dawn. Not very likely, not very practical. And the mentality there, the problem with it, if you want to end up in a situation with your bug out location where you could be in a literal, total 100% shit hit the fan and be able to survive, you want that type of remote fortification, that's fine. But if you only build it for that purpose, you're going to break almost every other rule that I give you today, and I almost guarantee you're going to end up unhappy. You're going to end up with a piece of property you've got too much money tied up into. You can't get rid of it. You don't use it. It's only there if the Blue Helmets march or whatever it is that you're preparing for. It's only there if the Koreans launch an EMP or whatever it is you're scared of. That's the only thing it's there for. And the reality is, my number one rule of preparedness is to do things that pay off today, even if nothing ever goes wrong. And we can build our bug out locations with that in mind, and we can do very well for ourselves with that in mind. What we have to do is first build the bug out location to our current needs in life, and then have a plan for, well, if I have to retreat here, how would I be able to sustain myself in that situation? Doesn't matter why. Could be because, the worst of the worst has happened. More likely it's because, a natural disaster destroyed your main dwelling. You've lost a job and you've decided to, fish or cut bait basically and make a try doing something else and lower costs. Your bug out location should be less expensive than your primary home is a general rule. That's not always true because some of you have paid for homes and that kind of changes that dynamic. But for most people, that would be a good rule to follow. So there could be all kinds of rules or reasons that you would need to retreat to your bug out location. So let's start out with what a bug out location actually is. It would actually be a much better term, and it's a term we used in the military, a fallback location. So the primary plan failed, and we don't want to be stuck out in the middle with our ass in the air, so to speak. So we have a predetermined location that we fall back to regroup and figure out what we can do next. That's the real purpose of an actual bug out location. A place to fall back because something's gone wrong, where you can be in relative safety and comfort and figure out what to do next with your life. If you're going to your bug out location because you have to, not because you want to go fishing or hunting or take a vacation or just get away from it for a while, if you're going there because you have to, you're probably in a situation where something's gone wrong and you need a place to regroup. All right. A bug out location is also a secondary investment, and it should be looked at as such. You're buying a piece of real property. Okay. When I say real property, I don't mean like it actually is there. I mean, that's the legal term for it. You're buying a piece of real property. And you can say whatever you want about the economy in the United States, but more millionaires are made with real estate than any other way. And there's a reason, and that's because they ain't making any more dirt. And for people that say, well, you never really own your property because of property taxes, there's some validity to that statement, but there's also reality. If you're renting, you're paying my property taxes. If I have a property and I'm renting it to you, you're paying my property taxes. You're still paying property taxes. In the interactive edge with the state that we have right now, it's an inevitability. So what we need to be looking to do is how can we mitigate that situation for ourselves so that we do not end up damaged by the fact that we're always going to pay property taxes. So that could have to do with finding property that has low property taxes or finding property that has tax advantages that offset the property taxes. One example is when you pay property tax, assuming you have an income and you file an income tax return, you're one of the Americans that actually pay income tax. The property tax is deductible from your federal income tax. So taxes being inevitable, a federal income tax payment, all that does for me is take away money. Okay, that's it. I get nothing out of paying federal taxes. Property taxes enable me to keep my property and defer some of the cost of my federal income tax. There's other ways that gets into that we'll talk about in a second. But the biggest thing we want out of a bug out location as a fallback is a well-prepared place of safety. That's what we want. We want to be able to, at any time, pick up, go there, and be relatively comfortable, relatively safe, relatively happy, and know what we're doing at that point. To me, a well-stocked bug-out location, minimum, I could go there, stay there for 3 months without leaving, and I'd be okay. Now, that doesn't mean that if we don't have a bug-out location and we decide we're going to get one, and 8 months later we find our property, we've made an offer, it's been accepted, we've closed on it, and we've started to use it for certain things and spend time there, that we're at that point. It may take another year, 2, or 3 to get there because we should be better prepared at home first. The most likely scenario in a disaster is you're going to stay right where you're at, right in your house, like I'm in mine right now, and bug in. So we got to get that stable. We get that to a point where we're at least 90 days or better at home. My goal for home is 6 months minimum, but whatever works for you. And then we kind of build up the bug out location. Okay? But we should have a plan financially that the day we close on the thing and start setting stuff up, that within a month or two where we can go there and hang out, that we'd be good for at least 2 to 3 weeks. We have to do that because that's going to enable us to go use the property so we can develop it and enjoy it and make something out of it other than just a fallback location. So what should you look for in a property? Likely not what you're thinking when you hear the term bug out location. First, you really should just forget about it being a bug out location. Just take the fact that that's one of our motivations. So that's a great thing to have a fallback location. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that idea on a shelf. We're going to leave it there. It's not gone, not going away. It's not, we're just forgetting about it at all. In fact, still it's a little bit in the back of our minds. But we're going to look at everything else first, and then we're going to retrofit back into that concept of a bug out location. So, what should we be looking for in a property beyond the bug out location? We should be looking at that property first and foremost as an investment. What is the likely appreciative value of the property over time? We should be looking for a property we think, if I buy this today, and 10 years from now decide this was all a mistake, I want to do something else, and I sell it, I should have an accrued value on that property that I can sell it for, right? I want to accrue equity in a property, and I'm looking for a property that will accrue equity. Now, there's a lot of different ways that can happen. Obviously, if we were buying a condo on a beach that was being developed, that would be a conventional real estate play to build equity. May not be the safest way, though, because look what some of those places sold for in Florida after the real estate bubble busted. But the resilience of real estate is those places are doing really, really good right now. They really are. So there's always that slack possibility of a drop in equity value on a property, but if we buy it right, usually we create enough resiliency for ourselves so that we can then come back later and take it from there.